Good evening. My name is Ryder. Welcome to my channel. Not all encounter stories have a happy ending, and today I'm going to tell you 6 stories that will make you think twice before swiping right. Story 1. Hello, my name is Maria Clara, and I am 23 years old. I would like to share a disturbing experience I had in 2019 in Florianopolis, Santa Catarina, while still using dating apps like Tinder. I hope my story serves as a warning to others. Through Tinder, I met Fernanda, a 27-year-old woman who, like me, enjoyed literature and classical music. Her profile seemed genuine, with several photos, an interesting description, and she worked as a psychologist in a renowned clinic. After exchanging some engaging messages, I accepted Fernanda's invitation to meet in person. Our meeting was charming. She had a captivating smile, deep eyes, and a contagious laugh. We strolled through the historic center, and gradually, I felt like I had found my soulmate. Fernanda then suggested going to her house for more privacy. Despite my hesitation, I agreed. Her house was isolated in a remote area, surrounded by dense forest, which already made me a bit suspicious. While in the bathroom, I noticed a book on the table about psychological manipulation techniques and human conditioning. The notes in the margins, discussing breaking someone's will, isolation for control, and even some of my peculiarities, raised a red flag. Quickly, I took photos of the pages and notes and sent them to a friend. Despite the shock, I pretended normalcy until I found an excuse to leave. In the following days, I took the evidence to the police. What the authorities discovered was surprising. Fernanda was involved in kidnappings and extortions, using her charm to deceive and manipulate victims. I was deeply shaken, starting therapy to understand how I fell so easily into her trap. I realized that Fernanda's manipulation was sophisticated, but thanks to my suspicion and quick action, I escaped an experience that could have been fatal. She faced justice, and I hope my account warns others to trust their instincts and never ignore red flags, no matter how seductive the situation may seem. Story 2. Hello, my name is Bruno, I am 36 years old, and my wife Carol is 32. This is an account of a frightening experience that we will never forget, which occurred in Belo Horizonte. We were looking to bring more adventure into our lives as a couple, so we decided to search for a third partner on Tinder. We came across the profile of Laura, a 26-year-old with attractive photos. After some conversations, we arranged to meet at a casual bar in the Santa Efigenia area. However, when Laura showed up, it became clear that her photos did not match her real appearance. She looked more masculine, tall, and robust. She claimed to be sick and that medication had altered her appearance and voice. Despite our suspicions, Carol was excited, so we decided to give it a chance. We headed to a nearby motel, and as soon as we arrived, Lara's face completely changed. I realized that it was actually a man posing as her, named Pedro. He forced Carol into the room while pushing me out and locking the door. Breathless and with my heart racing, I chose not to involve the police immediately, fearing it would take too long and put Carol in more danger. I tried to break down the door, but when I saw that it wouldn't work, I looked for a window or opening. I found a small window leading to the bathroom of the room. With my experience as an architect, I analyzed that the wall was weaker. Using a piece of concrete from the trash, I repeatedly hit it until I could open a hole and enter. The sight of Carol scared in Pedro's arms made me furious. I advanced against him, determined to save her. After an intense struggle, I managed to render him unconscious and ensure that Carol was okay. We left the premises immediately. This traumatic experience left us deeply shaken but also strengthened us as a couple. We reported Pedro to the police the next day, and he was arrested for attempted assault and kidnapping. This is the account of an adventurous couple who narrowly avoided a tragic ending. I learned that we should always trust our intuition and never ignore signs of danger, no matter how seductive the situation may be. Story 3. My name is Laura, I'm 26 years old, and I'd like to share the most terrifying experience I've ever had. At the time, I was single and using Tinder only for casual, commitment-free encounters. I started chatting with Alberto, a man who appeared to be around 30, with an attractive and charismatic face. His profile stated that he was a wine consultant, which sounded sophisticated. Our conversations were pleasant and polite, and nothing made me suspicious. After a week, Alberto invited me to dinner at a renowned restaurant in Barra. When I arrived, he looked even more handsome in person, with an illuminated smile. Dinner went very well. Alberto seemed to know a lot about wines and made me feel special with his attention. At the end, he invited me for one last glass at his apartment. Despite initial hesitation, I ended up accepting. His apartment was beautiful, but as soon as we entered, I noticed a worrisome change in his behavior. He became serious and silent. While Alberto went to get more wine, I noticed that the decor was strange, with photos of smiling people I didn't recognize. In the bathroom, unable to resist, I peeked through a partially open door. What I saw paralyzed my body. A mannequin covered in red paint simulating blood, pictures of girls with a red X drawn over them. Panic overwhelmed me. Back in the living room, Alberto awaited me with an empty expression, holding a corkscrew. I ran desperately outside, assisted by neighbors who called the police. Alberto was arrested, revealing himself as a suspect in the disappearance of several women lured through Tinder. I never imagined that a dating app could lead me to such a dangerous situation. I learned that even in seemingly safe environments, it's always necessary to be cautious and attentive to warning signs. I hope my account serves as a warning so that others don't go through something as terrifying. Story 4. My name is Vanessa and I'm 26 years old. I recently moved to Sao Paulo in search of a new chapter. As I didn't know anyone in the city, loneliness started to weigh on me. A friend suggested that I use Tinder not just for dating but also to make new friends. One of the first people I talked to was Tainara, a 28-year-old. She seemed nice and understanding, also being new in the city. With that in common, we started hanging out. Tainara was very attractive and fun, but I noticed she had a fascination with drugs and was always under the influence when we met, a red flag that I overlooked. One night, we went to a party, and she offered me a special tea to try. Being naive and wanting to fit in, I accepted. I remember a strange taste, but she reassured me. Then everything became blurry. When I woke up, I was in a dark and cold place, sitting on the floor, very scared. Gradually, memories started coming back, Tainara drugging me and some camera flashes before everything went dark. I felt a chill down my spine as I imagined what she might have done to me while unconscious. There were pains, blood, disturbing signs. I found my phone and almost passed out. It was flooded with messages and calls from worried friends because explicit photos of me had leaked online. Tainara had tried to sell these photos on the internet to make money. The feeling of panic consumed me. Fortunately, I reported Tainara to the police and cut off all contact. Today, I can see how naive I was, but the experience also taught me a harsh lesson about being cautious and trusting my instincts when red flags appear. I hope my story alerts others to the dangers that may exist. Story 5. Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel, I'm 32 years old, and I'm from Sao Paulo. I'd like to share an experience I had a few months ago that left me deeply disturbed. I was at home on a Friday night with not much planned when I decided to open Tinder. There I found Carla's profile, a beautiful 29-year-old woman who claimed to be mysterious and love adventures. We started a good conversation, and soon we arranged to meet at a reputable pub on Avenida Paulista. On the day of the meeting, when I saw her in person, I was even more impressed with her beauty. Carla was very kind, polite, and seemed genuinely interested in me. We talked about hobbies, work, and even crazy dreams. However, that's when things started to get strange. Carla smiled differently and began talking about her peculiar taste for bloody and macabre crime stories. I found it odd, but I thought it was just an interest in a different genre. On our fourth date, I invited her to dinner at my house. Initially, everything was going well until she started describing in chilling detail the planning and execution of famous crimes, showing fascination with the minds of serial killers. What really shocked me was when, with a serious expression and eyes devoid of empathy, she asked me, "Have you ever thought about how it would be to end someone?" At that moment, I realized the dangerous situation I was in. My heart started beating faster, and I knew I needed to get her out of my house, out of my safe space. I managed to stay calm, said I wasn't feeling well and needed to rest. Carla seemed to understand and agreed to leave, but before she whispered, "Loved getting to know your house, Gabriel. See you soon." I left that situation terrified. I couldn't sleep that night and spent weeks afraid she would show up again. After that, I deactivated my Tinder profile, changed my routines, and even the door lock, determined to leave it all behind. Fortunately, I never saw or heard from her again, but this experience taught me that people aren't always who they seem to be at first glance. We always need to be alert to warning signs, no matter how subtle they may be. Story 6. It was early February 2016 when, freshly separated, I decided to try virtual means of meeting people and signed up for Tinder in Curitiba. My friends encouraged me to move forward and embrace this new phase at 28. After some dull conversations, I came across Gabriel's profile, a 32-year-old with a mature and seductive face. He was charming, intelligent, and witty. Despite being a bit arrogant, there was a magnetism that drew me in. We exchanged messages, and he invited me to go out that night to a quiet bar downtown. Upon arrival, Gabriel seemed even more interesting in person with his intense gaze. For a moment, I thought it could be a new beginning. However, as the night went on, Gabriel became increasingly insistent with compliments and unwelcome touches. His mood also darkened, and he constantly tried to offer me more drinks. At one point, I noticed Gabriel putting something in my drink when he thought I wasn't looking. My stomach froze as I recalled terrible stories of women being drugged and abducted. I needed to act cautiously. I pretended to take a sip of the drink, feeling a bitter taste, and immediately let go of the glass abruptly. Gabriel panicked, insisting that I was unwell. I asked to go to the bathroom, and inside, I called the police. Gabriel tried to break down the door, but the officers restrained him. I blacked out and woke up in the hospital, being informed by a friend that Gabriel was a wanted drug dealer who drugged victims to sell them on the black market. It was the worst scare of my life and an important lesson. This horrifying experience with a true maniac changed my perspective on the dangers that women face every day. Since then, I have used this experience to warn other women about this grim reality. If you made it this far, please leave your like and comment to support the channel. Thank you very much and see you next time.